Hey hosers, this is Backdoor coming to you doing a quick review of the SIG SAUER X5 entry model. I've had this gun for about 5 years now and there's very little videos on YouTube about it, so I thought I'd do a quick review. Just do a quick safety check. I'm up here in Canada, so we never load guns in our house. We're not allowed to. These are always locked up in a safe with trigger locks well away from ammunition. So let's see, it's safety checked. So this here is the 5-inch version of the P226. The only thing I've done here is I've changed the grips for aftermarket Hogue grips. These are the aggressive chain link. These are similar to the grips you'd find on the SIG SAUER X5 Supermatch, and the only difference is the Supermatch ones have the X drawn into them, and then other than that I've thrown on a Streamlight TLR1 HL. This has the strobe feature and it's putting out, I believe, 1,000 lumens. So this is just a quick comparison between what it would look like against, this is a SIG P226 Legion. So this, just to give you an idea for size comparison, you'll see they're a little bit, it's a little bit bigger in the barrel. However, I will say this is much heavier. This does have a lot of heft to it. The frame is all steel, whereas this one I believe is just the aluminum frame with the steel slide. So this one is a lot lighter. The one thing I will say about this one though is it does have exceptional sights. Not sure if you could see that, but it's got the SIG SAUER X-ray sights, whereas the X5, the sights that it come with are more of a straight 8 type, line them up, one dot, and I believe it's like dotting the eye. So we'll move the SIG Legion, and then I'll give you a comparison with the 1911. So you could see the 1911 again with a 5-inch barrel has about the exact same footprint. This one here is wearing a Olight Balder. This one is green light or 1300 lumen, which you could see. This has no strobe though. So the one thing I will say about this gun is when you're shooting it, the heft really does control the flip. It has very little muzzle rise, but that being said, it does have an extremely heavy slide. So one of the things you'll notice is this reciprocating mass really takes a long time to go back and come forward. So I find this one doesn't shoot as quick as something like a regular 226 or even the Glock. These ones, you'll notice they have a shorter slide, much lighter, and it cycles a lot faster. That being said, these two do have a little bit more muzzle rise, so you'll notice getting back on target just takes a little bit longer. So what I'll do now is I'll just show you a quick little breakdown of what this X5 looks like. It's extremely similar to every other 226. You log the slide back, you don't have to squeeze the trigger like a SIG. Takedown lever goes down, slides right off, and then what you'll notice here is that this one uses a 2-spring system. So you have a single spring on the guide rod, and then you have this additional little spring here. It's a self-contained unit, and this one just really helps mitigate the recoil and prevent the muzzle rise. So this steel guide rod, it goes in there. So it's actually a dual spring, whereas the regular SIGs just have the once, and I believe a plastic guide rod. So here's the stainless steel barrel. You'll see this is a match grade barrel. Obviously I haven't cleaned it, and you'll notice it's a little bit bigger. The one thing I have encountered with this pistol that was a little bit concerning for a while is that the extractor here was getting really dirty, and right here, this little extractor, it's under spring tension, but that was accumulating a lot of carbon buildup, and I was finding that I was having misfeeds and some fail to ejects. A lot of times it was getting stovepiped on the next round due to all that carbon buildup So this one I find you really do have to clean a little bit more frequent than the regular 226, possibly due to tighter tolerances. And then to put it back together, same thing, lock it back, and you're good to go. So the one thing that I would like to add to this one is what the SIG call a jet funnel, which is their version of a mag well. It hooks into here and screws into there. The only problem is they're extremely difficult to find in Canada. I haven't been able to find one yet, but that's what my only plan is for this gun. However, I may run into a problem with the magazines that it's shipped with not having the extended base plate. You'll see that they go in just fine here, but with that mag well, they may extend a little bit too far, in which case it might not work. So that's my only concern. Of course, the X5 magazines will work with the regular 226, no problem, perfect fit, and vice versa. These magazines work in here absolutely fine. So I'll try to get some close-ups here of the detail that you could see with the front serrations. You'll see that it's got the front serrations, for the most part, a full-length dust cover that stops just about right there. As you can see, it's about a thumb length. And again, rear serrations. These sights, they're modular in that you could pop this out and exchange it for either the red dot sight adapter or different adjustable target sights. So this is a modular pistol. Same goes for the Picatinny. It has a red dot adapter sight where it's a bridge that would attach there and then come up just here, so it actually rides the frame and not on the slide, and that would be beneficial for when you're doing rapid fire. The slide's reciprocating, but the frame and the red dot are staying in the exact same spot, so it's easier to get back on. The SAUER X5 Open actually comes with that, as well as a modular compensator that attaches in the front of the muzzle. Now the SIG 226 Legion, I find, has a much better trigger, just for those of you who are cross shopping. This one is the SIG 226 Legion, single action only, so you'll see it's a single action, doesn't have the decocker. This one has a flat trigger with an exceptional trigger pull. You'll see has a little bit of take up, but then it's just a smooth, crisp break. Reset, you'll see, is very short, and as soon as it resets, there's no take up. You're right up against the wall and breaks just as crisp. The X5 has a good trigger, but I have to admit the 226 is a superior trigger. This one has a bit of play, the crisp break just like the other one, and then the reset is ever so slightly longer. So you'll see that it has a little reset, and then there's a little mush even after it resets. So you have that little bit of play and wiggle. So I find the 226 is a little bit better on that side. Again, on the Legion version with the upgraded trigger, I believe it's done from the factory by I don't know the name. I have shot an IPSC match with this 226 Legion, and I do find that it's really easy to make your shots and get on your follow-up shots due to the quality of these sights. I just find that my eyes pick up this sight better with the fluorescent green, whereas with these sights I find it just always takes me a second or two longer. As well, this gun is just a lot heavier, and when you're going in IPSC, I do find that it takes its toll on you, along with the long heavy slide taking a little bit longer to cycle. You'll notice that when you're shooting and trying to shoot fast. So I'll just try to get a better look at some of these details on this pistol. You see the chain link by Hogue is really aggressive, really holds tight, much better than the factory grips it came with. Again, this is the model from 2014, so I believe the new X5s do come with an upgraded grip. However, these Hogue grips are definitely worth the money. I think I paid $80 US through Amazon for these, and they're well worth it. And then I switched the screws for these little silver ones. Really accentuates the color of the grip and matches the frame. And then you've got your X5 there and SIG SAUER, and some really nice checkering up here. You've got a nicely beveled cut right up in there to get right in there like that. You'll see that it's perfectly smooth. High beaver tail protects you, and the safety, ambidextrous, very, very crisp and audible. No problems there. I don't use my left, but you'll see that it's no problem as well. So the only thing that I don't like about this gun are the sights. I thought I would prefer the dotting the eyesight. However, I just find that these ones, I do find it hard to pick up quick. They're fine for target shooting. However, when you're trying to shoot fast, I just find that I pull to the left and right. I don't have the quick pickup like I do with the fiber optic type sights. So that's one thing I would change. However, I have no intention of using this one for IPSC, so I'll probably leave it as stock for the time being. So what I'll do is I'll roll in some video footage of me shooting this. This was a little while ago, and I'll show you how you can see the gun recoil or lack thereof due to its heft. If I did buy this one first. Knowing what I know now, if I was doing this again, I would have rather just buy the SIG 226 Legion and something else. I don't feel the added expense. This retails for about $3,000 Canadian now, whereas I picked this one up for, I believe, $14.99 or maybe $15.25. So you're looking at almost double the price, and I really don't think that that the upgrades you get with the X5 justify the price over this. To be honest, even dollar for dollar, all things being equal, I would probably rather have this Legion. This Legion has nice G10 grips, a much better trigger, and for me, sights that just work better. I find that this one is, in my hands, more accurate, shoots faster, and just more engaging when you shoot it. Perhaps it's due to the recoil, or just the nature of how it functions. It just has more emotion to it, whereas this one is very tame, neutered, very flat shooting, which again is a good thing, but in Canada we just shoot at targets, and it's very flat and neutered is how I would describe it. So I'm just trying to find some footage here of me shooting this at the range, and I'll try to incorporate it in. I have a couple clips here that I see of just shooting. Our magazines only hold 10 rounds, so that's why you'll see that it's only shooting 10 rounds. I believe these hold from the factory 17, but here in Canada we have to pin it to 10. So I'll roll some footage in. Obviously I bought this one first, as the Legions are still relatively new, only a couple years old. I believe these retail now for about $29.99, maybe some places have them for $27.99, whereas these retail for about $1,500. Knowing what I know now, if I was in the market for these guns, I would actually rather have the Legion. Personally, I find that this one shoots better in my hands. I find that it's more engaging. The combination of the flat, crisp trigger, the sights, and just the actual function of the gun when you're shooting it quick is much more engaging than I find I get with the X5. I find this is a great target gun if you're just going to try to do bullseyes all day long. Nice slow pace, very flat shooting, very little recoil, so it's easy to, you know, shoot your bullseyes. However, I'm more into shooting fast and possibly engaging several targets, especially when I use this one for IPSC. So this one just points a little bit better and gets on target a lot quicker. That's just my personal opinion. If I could only have one, I would have went with the Legion, knowing what I know now.